Former President Trump is back in New York in a courtroom today as his civil fraud trial continues. The outcome of the trial could impact Mr. Trump's ability to do business in the state of New York. Dre Clark standing by live for us with an update. Dre, what's happening right now?
Well, Marty, right now, the former President Donald Trump is inside the courtroom listening to testimony. But today was supposed to be a big dramatic day, a face-off between former President Trump and his former longtime attorney, Michael Cohen. The first time the two men would have been in the same room at the same time in 5 years. But we're going to have to wait a little longer for that moment to happen because Cohen asked the judge to postpone his testimony today for medical reasons. The judge now saying that the earliest Cohen will testify will be next week on October 23rd. Meanwhile, Cohen says he's looking forward to seeing his former boss, Donald Trump, in the courtroom eventually. Cohen, of course, is the key witness or a star witness for the New York State Attorney General in Mr. Trump's civil fraud trial. Cohen worked as Mr. Trump's personal attorney for a decade before the two split in 2018 when Cohen pleaded guilty to federal campaign finance violations and also for lying to Congress. He was sentenced to 3 years in a federal prison, but only served 13 months behind bars before he was released to serve the rest of his time on home confinement. Cohen is also a prosecution witness in Donald Trump's separate Manhattan hush money case, which is scheduled to go to trial next spring. Now, meanwhile, the judge presiding over Mr. Trump's civil trial has already determined that he and other top executives at the Trump organization committed years of fraud by overinflating the value of some Trump properties and lying about his personal net worth in financial disclosures to get better terms on multi-million-dollar loans. For his part, Mr. Trump says this whole trial is nothing more than a sham, a witch hunt. And here is more from Mr. Trump, who spoke earlier this morning before going into the courtroom.
This is a disgraceful situation. This is an attorney general, Letitia, that went out and campaigned on, I will get Trump. I will get Trump no matter what. I'll get Trump. I promise I'll get her. We have 2 tapes on her now that have come out since the trial because people took tapes of her because they couldn't believe her ranting and raving like a lunatic. But just as the Attorney General of New York State, Letitia James, and she shouldn't be allowed to be Attorney General. She's defrauded the public with this trial.
And so you heard the former president going after New York State Attorney General Letitia James. She is the person who brought these fraud charges against Mr. Trump. She is also asking the judge to make him pay a $250 million fine and also to bar him from conducting business here in the state of New York. That would be a huge blow because, as you know, Mr. Trump and his family built their real estate empire right here in the city of New York. There are buildings all throughout the city with his name on it. Meanwhile, during the first week of trial, the judge issued a gag order after Mr. Trump said some disparaging things about a member of the judge's courtroom staff. The judge telling the former president that his comments were unacceptable and it would not be tolerated. But again, Mr. Trump is now here inside the courtroom listening to testimony. Unclear if he plans to be here for the remainder of the week. But of course, he asserts that he wants to be here again to clear his name and reputation, that he believes that eventually the judge will rule in his favor and not perhaps issue that multi-million-dollar fine. But it is a very serious case nonetheless, as you know, Marty.
All right, Dre. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.